Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. I'll have roll call. If you would.
Good afternoon. The Design Review Board is a 5-member board, and as far as a roll call today, we are aware that Carly Waters couldn't make it, and Mikesh is running slightly late, but 3 members today, the remainder of the board, can commence the meeting, and Mr. Patel can join us afterwards.
Okay.
So under that, we have posted our Design Review Board packet online. The city does that the Friday before our meeting, so that was posted on March 6th, and that confirmation for the Kansas Open Meeting Act has been completed.
Okay, thank you, John.
Sure.
Okay, next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the February 13th, 2020 meeting. Has everyone had a chance to look over those?
Yeah. Do we have a quorum? Can we vote on that, John?
3 of
Do we
5.
Generally, if we have 5 members, in the past, we've considered 3 a quorum. But if you feel we want to wait on Mikesh, we can.
There he is now.
He's here, so.
Okay.
We don't need to wait, but, okay.
Sure. Thanks.
So, all right, so, welcome, Mikesh.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. All right, so then again, we're on the minutes from the February 13th meeting. Anybody have any additions, changes, corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve them.
I would move we approve the minutes from the February 13th meeting.
Okay, I have a motion, and
I second it.
okay, and Mikesh seconds. All right. And no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you. On down to new business. Application number CC 20-2. John.
This application has been filed by Mike McCall with M Squared Architects on behalf of the Bath Pub, which was planned to be relocated at 109 South Santa Fe. This renovation of the existing storefront facade would focus on the exterior appearance, and that's part of your purview. As far as background goes, we do have an outline here of the building itself. This is an older building, 101 to 107 South Santa Fe, that was built by Alex Campbell in 1887. This bank of buildings, the next 75 feet down, is part of the Campbell and Tuttle Sloan building, and that was built in 1884. So the building in the center, 109, was built in 1887, and it was kind of sandwiched in between these larger building blocks. This area here was unified, and they changed over time. This has remained relatively the same, except some of the softer brick buildings in the 1880s it did have to have treatments of stucco parged over them, in some cases preserve the brick, and this has taken away some of the individual characteristics of the building, which is probably likely a stepped cornice line, and then of course the stucco has been painted white over time. This shows the current configuration. As far as the background, we go to the next slide. This shows the building in 2002, 2003. At that time, this shows the 1960 storefront system that was put in on the building. This had a structural glass accent around the building itself. And I do mention the McCoy's gift sign, which was a predominant fixture for the longest time in the downtown, and that was adjacent at 111 South Santa Fe. That eventually was restored into the 111 Lounge by Ted Hauser and Associates. This is another view of the exterior there. When the McCoy's Gifts moved out in 2003, Ted Hauser purchased the 2 buildings at 109 and 111 and refurbished the exterior of the buildings, and also the apartment above 111. He and his wife actually lived in that upper loft apartment for several years before he moved to St. Joseph. So he is, at that point, this shows the 1960s before that renovation. Some of the bulkheads here you see are also the glass tile that are broken loose, and this is prior to the renovation. But I did want to show you the basic transom outline, which is somewhat different than the one on the adjacent building, dating from the 1960 edition, where this was narrowed down. Some of the glass tile was placed over that as an accent and then carried over into the base of the building. This shows the building after the renovation in 2003. This again shows the tiebacks and the storefront and transom area. What is different is the bottom bulkheads were replaced with ceramic tile, and that was done both on 109 and 111 by Warren Ediger. The remainder of the building stayed the same. This is just another shot. It shows the current tenant there and the layout of the storefronts. And that's the way it is today. What happened is, I believe it was in later in 2007, when the canopy was placed over that, what it did is it covered the structural glass, also the transom area, kind of unified that appearance and broke it up, because it did have some deterioration on the original storefront system, and they wanted to hide that. If we go back one slide, Dustin. This shows the soffit area was cleared in below the transom area, and that was done mainly as a cleanup item. And this shows the current one. If you go out there today, it does show the existing windows, which were modernized over time in that arched openings, shortened windows were placed, and those were aluminum frames without actually double hung, so those were simple panes. Dustin, we could go to the building elevations, and we might just scroll down. Yeah, let's scroll up on that, Dustin. Yeah, if you don't mind. Okay, and of course this is just another view of that, and at this point we can scroll down. And in its place, Mr. McCall is proposing to go back with a different transom orientation in here. As part of that, the original glass storefront would be taken off and replaced by a black frame storefront system, but it would remain in the same location as the existing bulkheads. What we do see is this is going to be a stucco panel in here, and what that does is it cleans up the item where that older canopy attached to the building, and what they are planning to do is replace the existing glass transoms on the two pairs on the outsides of those with insulated glass panels. Will be a lot more climate friendly on the interior of the building. Also, the windows on the top floor of that would be changed from the single glass to double hung glass with wood cores and aluminum clads on those. So these would become double hung, which would be closer to the original configuration of the windows historically. The existing window hoods will be retained and repainted if necessary, but this would give a white stucco paint on the top as well as on this Epis stucco panel. They would have raised lettering for the bathtub. Generally in the downtown, we see transom areas used quite often for wall signs in lieu of other signs, because that's actually how they're meant to be done. Those areas below the storefront corners often are used for signage. And this shows the storefront system itself, where the glass will be placed in on those, and as we go down, that shows the double hung glass on the top. The structural glass tile would be repaired or replaced as necessary, and then this would be the new storefront system in this area here. Yeah. We might just stay on that one, Dustin, with the elevation. What we've done is analyze the area there, and the existing glass transom panel is going to be enclosed with that stucco system, but that the existing transom panels you see from 1960 weren't the original to the building and date from the 1960s renovation, and because of this, they're not character-defining features that should be protected. So it would be your duty today to determine whether the EPIS panel for the transom area will be an appropriate replacement for that transom glass, which was a combination of a canopy and storefront, and whether that would be an appropriate replacement and would not alter the architectural character of the building. The sign will have raised lettering, and it would appear to be proportional to the building, and it would occupy a transom area that's commonly reserved for the systems. So after hearing from the applicant today, under findings, we would think that these exist, the new storefront and upper story windows may be appropriate to the scale of the building. The proposed exterior changes will not remove or damage historic material. The intact architectural features of the building, basically the upper story, will be preserved, and that the proposed wall signage will be proportional to the building. Under your actions today, you could approve the certificate of compatibility for the proposed exterior alterations. You could also approve that subject to any conditions agreed upon the members of the board. And your third option would be to postpone the application requiring additional information. And there is an appeal process for a denial of the application as presented. So at this point, staff would be glad to go over any of the slides today and answer any questions you may have on our staff report.
Does anybody have any questions, comments?
No.
And would our guest like to say anything, or
Well, please, Mike.
if you'd just identify yourself? And
Hi, I'm Mike McCall with Imsgard Architects here in Salina. As been going through the presentation, it's, you know, as you can see, the bottom bulkheads. We're going to leave those. They're in pretty good shape right now. So we're just going to do some patch and repair just to clean them up a little bit. The glass itself is broke on the sides. We haven't really looked at the whole top yet because we haven't tore the whole canopy off yet. So, but we've looked at this with Ritter Tile, and he's got a glass or a porcelain glass tile that will be close to matching the glass tile that's there. The proportions will be a little bit. So what we're going to try to do is salvage a couple of pieces off one side, fix the other, and then put the new tile in on the other side. So the proportions, if you're standing away, might be a little bit off on the grout lines, but that's probably as close as we're going to get to the original design there. Like you said, we're going to infill this and then create a space here for the new sign. The current transom windows are actually pulled away. There's air coming through now, so they're in terrible shape. So we're just going to go back with aluminum storefront to create those, and along with the bottom area in the black. Kind of the theme with their product they're going to be selling is the inside of the store also will be a white and black theme, so this building actually fits really good for the new client that's going into the building with their scheme of their product plus the kind of look of the building. So and then the upper windows, like you said, we're going to replace those with double hung so that eventually on the second floor, if they decide to do some other things upstairs, we've got some actually operable windows and stuff, because currently those are all single pane windows and the ones in the back are also the same, so we can't really get any natural ventilation upstairs. So, but right now that's just going to be storage. That's about all I've got, unless you have some questions for me.
any comments?
No.
Any questions? Thank you. Appreciate it. All right then, if there's no comments or questions, would you have a motion to approve or disapprove?
I'll make a motion, we approve the certificate of compatibility for the exterior renovation project, subject to if there's any significant changes, that it be brought back to our board.
Okay. Haley made the motion, a second.
Second.
Maggie seconds. Okay, any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, then. It appears we don't have any administrative items.
We do not, as far as preliminary discussion items, we don't have any pending applications for the March 26th meeting or unfinished business in there. As far as the public forum, we don't see anyone else in attendance today. So with the notice that our March 26th meeting probably won't be held, as we don't have an application in, you would be free to adjourn today.
Okay. Well, I'll take a motion to adjourn then.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, moved.
Seconded.
Seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.